Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome. We're so excited to have you here. We will be recording this webinar, so for folks that couldn't make it, can listen to later. My name is Kelsey Coney, and I'm a graduate student at the Kroc School Peace Studies at USD, and we're so excited to have you join us to learn more about the seminar. Before we begin, we wanted to share two logistics. The first is that the chat will be open to questions at any time, and you're welcome to answer or ask any questions as we go along, and we'll try to answer. And there will also be some time at the end to ask any questions that you may have. We will also be adding a link to our website in the chat, so you can go and look there for any of the specifics. We have a whole bunch of details and more information there. Today, I have the pleasure to introduce you to three amazing business leaders and professors. These three individuals will be leading the Global Executive Seminar. We want to welcome Paula, Juan, and Karen. Paula is a Damier Distinguished Professor of Global Leadership and Education at the Kroc School. She has a distinguished academic career in social entrepreneurship, educational leadership, and philanthropy. She's worked closely with NGOs, foundations, schools, and universities. She has lived and worked in Venezuela, Ghana, Rwanda, and Spain. Karen is an adjunct professor in strategic management and social impact consulting at the School of Business at USD. She has an exceptional career spanning everything from international business development for high-tech companies to consulting and training in social entrepreneurship. She has lived and worked in Japan, Vietnam, and Colombia. Juan is a professor of practice at USD's Kroc School and School of Business. He has a 30-year career as a global executive, sought-after business consultant, board member, and expert on socially responsible business strategies and models. Originally from Venezuela, he has lived and worked in Latin America, Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. Now, let's dive into the stories and the details that make the seminar a one-of-a-kind educational opportunity.
Okay, welcome everybody. So glad you have joined us today. So the question is, are you ready to lead with purpose? And we created this seminar because we're hoping that you can help shape a better world. We're focusing on bottom line practices, the triple bottom line of people, profit, and planet. We're going to 3 different regions of the world. We'll start in San Diego. We'll be going to Spain and to Rwanda. Karen and Juan and I collectively, as Kelsey was just sharing, we have many years of experience. We know these countries firsthand, lots of contacts there, and we visited each of the companies that we'll be taking people to. And this is so much aligned with USD's mission. In the DNA of USD to look at issues of equity and social justice within our communities. And those are the ideas that we're hoping that you will bring back to whatever community you live and work in. And we also hope that if you serve on nonprofit and corporate boards, that you'll have lots of ideas and experiences that will be applicable to them. So I'm going to ask my colleague Juan if he'll share why we created this seminar.
Oh, thank you, Paula. As you heard in our backgrounds, Paula, Karen, and I, we have very different backgrounds. Paula is an expert in education, has been in that field for many years. Karen, in the tech sector, Silicon Valley, you know, all the new industries. And I come from the fast-moving consumer goods products, but the 3 of us, we share the same worldview on how the capitalist systems should change to be more inclusive and just. See, in my experience of over 35 years managing business worldwide, I got 2 main lessons. Lesson number 1 was that whenever I made decisions based only on the financials, instead of looking at the overall impact on all stakeholders, the results were far from optimal. I always got much better long-term results when I consider my decisions' social and environmental consequences. And that's a big lesson that we're going to be conveying during the seminar. But the other important lesson is that it reaffirmed my belief that a free market economy is the best way to produce wealth and reduce poverty. See, we see that all over the world every time that a country adopts this system. However, the system has essential pitfalls that need to be corrected. I believe, the three of us believe, that the world is currently at a crossroads. We can either continue the path of extractive capitalism, a model that is based on the extraction of profits from humankind and nature, that unfortunately has led to inequality, environmental destruction, or we can shift to a new, sustainable, more inclusive prosperity model. You know, it has always has been a big question to me that even though there has been tremendous progress in medicine, physics, chemistry, social sciences in general, but in the economic field, we're still stuck in the never-ending discussion between capitalism and socialism, which I believe is something that should be out of the table. You know, I always remind people that back in 1976, when Adam Smith wrote his famous opus, The Wealth of Nations, which of course set the basis for free market economics, he also wrote The Theory of Moral Sentiments. And in this book, he clearly stated that in business, prudence and justice are fundamental for society to survive. And in fact, he predicted many of the pitfalls that we're seeing and experiencing in the current system that we have. This seminar is precisely about exploring and finding this new model, and it's going to be a collective enterprise.
Great, thank you, Juan. So let me outline the program for you. So it's a total of 15 days, and we're going to be in 3 countries. We're looking at about 30 high-performing businesses. So we start in January in San Diego with 3 days. We'll only be at the university part of that time because we're going out to visit several sites. In February, March, each month, there's one 90-minute session where we'll have speakers and group discussions that would then prepare us in April to go to Spain, where we'll be in Spain for 5 days. Again, we'll get up in the morning and go off and visit all kinds of sites. And many of those we'll talk about in a moment. In May and June, we'll be doing the same thing, 2 online sessions, 1 each month, preparing us for when we go to Rwanda. And again, we're going to be out visiting sites, and we'll debrief at the end of the day. In August and September, that's the time for the participants to connect with, we're calling it office hours, that you can choose, and this information is on our website. You can choose, as you work on your personal action plan, who do you want to talk to that has expertise in the area that you're investigating? Is it sustainability? Is it issues around measurement? Specifically, these people have expertise and will be offering their time to you as consultants for your project. And then we'll end in San Diego at the end, where people will share their personal action plans, and we will also celebrate, receive a certificate, and a little badge that you could put on LinkedIn if you want to. On the next slide, we start in San Diego, in-person instruction day 1. We're going to bring in lots of local leaders. They'll be not only from business, but we'll also talk about government and NGOs, are some of our larger nonprofits, maybe those that have social enterprises as part of their nonprofit work. And we're going to be ending the seminar in October by celebration at the University President's Home. And one of the cases that we will explore is Taylor Guitar. Taylor Guitar is out in the eastern part of San Diego County. We'll visit them. It's an employee-owned company, world-renowned manufacturer of acoustics guitars, and we'll be exploring a variety of initiatives that makes Taylor one of the marquee companies in Southern California. Juan, why don't you talk about Spain?
Sure, I will love to talk about Spain because I spent several years of my life living there and it was a wonderful experience. Well, in Spain, you are going to visit the wonderful city of Barcelona and then Bilbao for several locations and sites that I will explain a little bit in more detail in the next slide. We're going to learn mainly about certified B corporations. And the reason why we selected Spain to do this is because even though the B Corp movement was born in the US, what we're seeing in Europe, and particularly in Spain, regarding the growth of the B Corp movement is really amazing. And I'll go through the companies that we will visit in a sec. And then we will acquire an in-depth knowledge about one of the most impressive cooperatives in the world that Paula will explain in more detail later, which is the world's premier model of worker ownership. So among the companies that we're going to be visiting, as you can see in this slide, there is everything there. We're going to be seeing from pharmaceutical companies to cosmetic companies to companies in the fashion business, in the food industry, supermarkets, venture capitalists, and we're going to be partnering there with the ESADE Business School and the B Corp movement in Barcelona. Now, I want to talk a little bit about one of these companies. We don't have time today to explain each one of them. I chose this one because this is a pharmaceutical company, and pharmaceuticals are in an industry that is fairly contested in many ways. And let me explain you about this company. This is a 645 million Spanish privately owned pharmaceutical company. It's in the top 25% performing B Corp in the world, was founded in 1959 and operates already in 128 countries. So it's a truly multinational company. It has already 2,000 employees and it donates 40% of profits to social and environmental causes. 51% of executive positions are held by women, which is fairly unique in the business world. And even more impressive is that it has 100% of electricity power comes from renewable energies. We're going to have the opportunity to visit and talk with several of their C-suite executives so that you can learn firsthand how a company in this type of industry can be an organization for purpose.
Okay, and then we are going to fly from Barcelona to Bilbao. It's a little over an hour's flight. We're going to have lunch at the Guggenheim Museum. It's an amazing, you probably have seen photographs of it. It's right in downtown Bilbao. And then we're going to be going over to a couple of different Mondragon co-ops that Thursday afternoon and all day Friday. Mondragon is one of the largest cooperatives in the world. There are over 100 companies that comprise Mondragon. They might be focusing on finance, various forms of manufacturing, retail. They also have co-ops that are in 31 different nations, and they have more than 80,000 worker owners. It's a phenomenal model. I first went there about 23 years ago, and the university has had a course for students where they've gone for the last 22 years. So we've had hundreds of students and alumni from USD who have seen this remarkable model. So I can't wait to take people to it. Juan, I think you have a question on Ferrer.
Oh, I do?
Yeah, it says for Ferrer, will those kinds of results work for a publicly traded company?
Oh, that's a great question. That's a great question that I have been asked that question with many other family-owned businesses. And, the short answer is yes. It will, of course, be a little bit more difficult because the pool of available resources is smaller when you're not publicly traded. However, if you look at the data out there, see, Forbes, for instance, reported that in 2022, there were more assets were invested in impact businesses than ever. I think that the figure now stands at around $2.3 trillion with a T, not with a B. So that's a bunch of money. But more impressive than that is that there has been an increase since 2019 of almost 70% on the money in impact investment. Granted, this is only about 2% of global assets under management, which might seem small, but it means that the possibility of growing is there. And in fact, is growing because this type of investment is becoming more popular as people realize that profits and purpose can go hand in hand. For example, McKinsey, that has looked in detail at this, they see that this demand is more pronounced with Gen Z, Gen X, and millennials, who are the ones that are going to be taking over and investing, right? So they are seeking investments that are more sustainable, that can have a positive impact in the world. So to me, the short-termism that we have seen in Wall Street is really coming to an end and changing rapidly. So yes, the answer is yes.
Thank you. Karen, tell us about Rwanda.
Great, thank you. One thing to mention is that between our visits in person and in country to Spain in April and Rwanda in July, we will also have 2 online sessions that will provide context, where we'll have some leaders in business or in other sectors that tie to the themes that we're approaching, and also a chance for our cohort, all the participants, to connect. So just to make sure that there's an ongoing process by which we will have connections, continuing education, and discussions. So many people have asked us, as we chose to go to Rwanda, why Rwanda? And certainly both Paula and I have spent extensive amounts of time there. Paula in particular, when she did a lot of work in the educational space in social entrepreneurship, and myself in working in trade finance, where we were trying to help Rwandan entrepreneurs fill a gap where there's tremendous opportunities for bringing in products to Rwanda that fill needs, whether they're in the computer sector, whether pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, but the inability to get funding for that because most large international manufacturers will not send product to developing markets unless there's full upfront payment. So that was part of what I was involved in. And so during that process, both Paul and I were extremely involved in appreciating the remarkable transformation of a country that 30 years ago, as most of the world knows, had a horrific genocide and has had one of the most incredible transformations in a very short period of time, where there is incredible peace in the country. It is actually the safest country in Africa, the fastest growing economy in Africa, and perhaps one of the fastest growing economies in the world, and where there's a truly unique partnership between government and business. And when Paula and I went there in April to really explore the countries, the companies we wanted to visit, the organizations, and we really pushed on that theme. Is there truly a unique collaboration between government and business to create this transformation in Rwanda? And the answer across the board, across all sectors and all the business leaders we met, as well as government agencies and foundations, was yes, it's truly unique. And one of the things, as Juan had mentioned previously, with Ferrer and the number of women executives, Rwanda actually has the largest number of women in parliament and in government leadership positions of anywhere in the world. So it is an extraordinary and beautiful country. It's called the land of 1,000 hills for very good reason. The top picture is really what the hills are. There are hills everywhere. And so we're excited to share knowledge and experience from leaders in the organization, in the country, about how inclusive the business models are and how that is shifting economic empowerment. We'll meet with a variety of experts. There's tremendous focus on gender lens investing, on equity and impact funding, and as I mentioned, this collaboration between the government and business to advance economic growth. Next slide. Some of the companies and organizations we will visit, we really are meeting with a range of organizations. MasterCard Foundation is one of the really interesting places we'll visit. They are investing hundreds of millions of dollars in Rwanda to drive entrepreneurial opportunities, especially for young people between 18 and 36, where there's massive gaps in job opportunities. Zipline, which is one of the leading drone companies in the world in the healthcare space. Norskin, which is a foundation out of Scandinavia that's focusing on opportunities for entrepreneurs, as well as Inkomoko doing the same. All Across Africa is a artisan-based cooperative organization, actually based in San Diego, that has hired tens of thousands of people across Africa for products. Winaz is a very unique company up in Musanze, where we'll be visiting, which is where the gorillas are. And they have huge amounts of potatoes they produce, and creating the first potato chip manufacturer in East Africa, and many other really interesting companies, all of whom we have personal connections with and have incredible stories to share about the opportunities in Rwanda and why they are so proud and so engaged in creating transformation in the Rwandan economy and the Rwandan communities. One of the case studies, and we could highlight many that Paula and I felt was important to share, is the story of Abihizi, which is a joint venture in Rwanda with Kate Spade and with private investors, as well as the Rwandan government. And when we went to visit Abihizi on one of the last days of our visit there, we went outside the city of Kigali and went further and further into the countryside. And we're sitting at the bottom of what was a 7-mile long dirt road going straight up a mountainside, thinking, where are we going and what could really be there? And as we went up what was probably the bumpiest road we'd ever been on, at the top of the hill, after we'd gone through lots of tiny villages and banana farmers, we came to this large factory site, which is the Abihizi site. And they employ over 300 women who had never had jobs before at this remarkable factory. There are very few men, but mostly women. And they are an employee-owned business and B Corp certified. So very unique aspects of their business model. And the reason that Kate Spade, which was the original investor, brought their products and the manufacturing opportunity to Rwanda was two things. They wanted to bring manufacturing to the people. So rather than having a manufacturing site in the city, they wanted to bring it to a place where very few people had the opportunity for jobs and income advancement. And the area where Abihizi is based has a long-time established mining company, which employs the men, but women have never had job opportunities there. It's so remote. So not only did they create job opportunities by bringing products that had more traditionally been actually manufactured in China, they moved a lot of the manufacturing over to Rwanda with really high quality results and commitment to the quality of the products. But also they created additional investments in the community with a healthcare clinic, banking, teaching financial literacy, a community center. So really creating an opportunity for huge advancement and empowerment of that community. And it was truly a joy and inspiration to meet the workers as well as meet the leaders of this incredible organization. And we're excited to share that with all of you.
Great, thank you, Karen. So our last day, so Friday, we're going to be driving over to the city of Musanze, a small city up in the mountains. As Karen just mentioned, we're going to visit some companies that are there, some, again, amazing companies that I think there's lots of ideas that can transfer to communities in the United States. But we're going to end, and wanted to share with you, we're going to end the day at the Ellen DeGeneres campus of the Diane Fossey Gorilla Fund. It just opened last year, and it's an absolutely remarkable research and conservation facility. Karen asked me to make sure that I didn't, I let you know that we are not going to be visiting the gorillas. We're just going to see photographs of them, and they have a film there. If you want to stay the weekend, that's one of the reasons we're ending in Musanze, then you can go over and visit visit the gorillas, and we can help arrange that for you. In the photograph that you see on the far left, we're going to be, that's the facility. It's an amazingly designed by a US company, a nonprofit architectural firm. And we're going to be on the rooftop of one of those buildings. And that is going to be our view of the Volcanoes National Park, gorillas in the mist. And as we watch the sun go down and sip beverages and have some things to eat. So that's how we'll be ending our time in Rwanda. Just want to talk about a couple of things related to scholarships and fees. So the deadline for early bird is November 1st. That's why we're holding the seminar now. There's 20% discounts available to people who are working in certified B Corps, in nonprofits and certified employee-owned organizations, as well as USD alums and staff. The full tuition for the program is, as you can see, $18,000, the early bird discount. And if you register by November 1st, you have to put down $1,000 deposit to get the early bird discount. We also have 4 scholarships available. This is through the Conrad Prebys Foundation. And these have to be for early to mid-career people who reside and work in San Diego County. And then our last slide here. So what are you going to gain by joining us? Well, we'll be offering practical strategies, tactics, and resources that are around different models of business for good. You'll have an amazing list of contacts afterward. So not only the people you'll be meeting here in San Diego, but also in Spain and in Rwanda. And these are some of the top business leaders in both of these nations. You'll also have a personal action plan that our consultants and the faculty will support you on. And you'll be ready to transfer those learnings to help change this system. We're in the middle of a sea change. We're directly in the middle of it right now. And we need folks like you to help move that to a different level. So that's all we have for you on the last slide there. We'll take any questions. Kelsey can take them.
Yeah.
There is a question in the Q&A.
Yeah, so thank you so much for all of you that have joined. We're so excited to open this up to any questions. The first question that we have here, and it is, when we visit the companies in each location, what will a typical day look like?
Sure. So it's probably the visit will be approximately 3 hours. So it could be 2.5 or about 3 hours. We'll tour the site. We'll be welcomed. We'll tour the site. You'll have an opportunity to interact with employees during the site visit. And then you'll be meeting with the C-suite folks. So whether it's the CEO, the director, VP of sustainability, the people who are responsible for their B Corps certification, and you'll get to sit down with them, ask questions. We're going to have lunch at several of the sites, so we'll also be breaking bread with people to get more at that informality.
Great.
And as you can see here, if you have any particular other questions, please reach out. And the QR code is for the website. There's lots of other details on the website.
Yeah. Well, thank you all so much. And if anyone has any questions right now, you're welcome to pop on and speak to if you don't feel like typing it out. But otherwise, we are so glad to have you all join us today and excited to share more about the seminar. Like Paula said, you're welcome to reach out to her directly, or you can reference the website to get any additional information you need.